A quiet hotel in Malta. A man enjoying his vacation, unaware that he's being watched. Then one silenced shot. Within hours, he was confirmed dead. But who pulled the trigger? And how did they vanish before anyone even knew what happened? Keep watching, because what really happened will surely shock you. A man with a stethoscope ended up on Mossad's most wanted list. To find out how, let's rewind. Fathi Shaqaqi was born in Gaza in 1951, in the middle of war and uncertainty. He wasn't born a soldier, and he certainly wasn't a radical. He was just a student, bright, thoughtful, and ambitious. Growing up in a refugee camp, he witnessed loss and the everyday humiliation his people were going through. These experiences shaped how he saw the world and played a big part in the decisions he would make later. Shaqaqi went to Egypt to study medicine, but the country in the 1970s was more than classrooms and hospital halls. It was alive with political debates and religious movements that easily won over young minds. While studying, he came across the writings of Sayyid Qutb, the Egyptian Islamist thinker who argued that the Muslim world could only be purified through struggle and sacrifice. For Shaqaqi, this was a turning point. Medicine, helping one patient at a time, suddenly felt too small, and the idea of healing a nation became far more powerful. He started to believe that only armed struggle, jihad, could free Palestine and change the fate of his people. When he returned to Gaza, he wasn't the same. He had a plan. In the late 1970s, alongside Abd al-Aziz al-Auda, he founded what would later become the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ, a group that rejected peace talks, compromise, and saw Israel's destruction as the only goal worth fighting for. PIJ was nothing like Hamas. It didn't have the same goals of building schools, charities, or social networks like the Muslim Brotherhood. Politics and welfare didn't interest them. What mattered to them was one thing: resistance. They wanted nothing else but war. At the center of it all was Fathi Shaqaqi. He was calm, calculating, and charismatic. The kind of leader who could take an idea and turn it into a movement. Through his speeches and writings, he made the idea of heroic death sound noble, convincing a generation of young Palestinians that sacrificing themselves was the right thing to do. Under his leadership, PIJ also introduced a tactic that made things worse: suicide bombings. They were among the first Palestinian groups to use human lives as weapons. People were turned into walking bombs, targeting buses, cafes, and markets in Israel. These attacks weren't random. They were meant to spread fear and make people feel unsafe anywhere, at any time. Each explosion made headlines. To Israel, Shaqaqi was a threat to national security itself, a man capable of creating chaos from thousands of miles away. And just like that, Mossad was after him. Mossad started by studying everything about him: who he met, where he stayed, how he traveled. They built a full profile of his habits, his disguises, and his communication networks. But Shaqaqi was no fool. He was too cautious about security. He kept moving, changed passports, and used fake names. He never took the same route twice and trusted almost no one. In 1988, Israel expelled him from Gaza, forcing him into exile. He found refuge in Damascus, Syria, a place that welcomed many militant leaders. From there, he directed operations, issued orders, and stayed untouchable under Syrian protection. But Mossad never stopped watching. They intercepted messages, tracked couriers, and followed the money. Every bit of information counted. Even the tiniest clue could crack the case. It was slow work, months of surveillance with no guarantee of success. But that's how Mossad operates. They're patient and wait for the perfect moment. By the mid-1990s, Shaqaqi's influence was growing again. The Oslo Accords had given the world hope. Maybe, just maybe, Israelis and Palestinians could find peace. Shaqaqi hated it. He called it a betrayal of the Palestinian cause and ordered brutal suicide attacks to sabotage the process. The Israeli government had come to their breaking point. The Prime Minister gave Mossad a simple order to find him and end him. The mission suddenly became urgent. For months, agents traced Shaqaqi's financial channels and communications, searching for any weakness. And then they found one. An unexpected lead. Shaqaqi had begun traveling to Malta. He used it as a place for secret meetings and financial deals. Malta wasn't a fortress. It was open, and most importantly, reachable. To outsiders, he seemed like any other businessman. But to Mossad, this was a rare opportunity. Intelligence officers pieced together his travel pattern and learned that he was using a fake Libyan passport under the name Ibrahim Shawesh. That was all they needed. The operation got its green light. Its codename, Operation Caesaria. They had studied Shaqaqi's routine inside out. The plan was simple: strike fast, clean, and vanish. On October 26, 1995, Shaqaqi left the Diplomat Hotel in Sliema after a meeting. He got onto a scooter, heading back to his apartment. He was relaxed, probably thinking about his next trip or the next PIJ operation. For once, he might have felt safe, surrounded by tourists, sunshine, and the calm blue sea. But as he rode down the road, a black motorcycle began following him. When he stopped at a red light, the passenger pulled out a silenced pistol and fired 3 shots straight into Shaqaqi's head. He was dead before he hit the ground. Within seconds, the assassins were already gone, leaving nothing behind. The entire operation took less than 10 seconds. Years of planning, finished in the blink of an eye. Within hours, the Mossad team reached a small marina, boarded a waiting yacht, and disappeared into the sea. By the time Maltese police arrived, there was nothing left to find. No shell casings, no witnesses, no trace. Israel refused to officially comment, as always. But anyone familiar with Mossad's style knew exactly who had done it. The assassination sent shockwaves across the Middle East. To Israel, it was a major victory, the removal of a man who had orchestrated countless attacks. To his followers, Shaqaqi became a martyr. Another proof that sacrificing one's own life was the highest form of devotion. Without him, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad began to crumble from within. His successor, Ramadan Shallah, tried to pick up where he left off but lacked Shaqaqi's charisma and vision. Slowly, the group's influence faded, overshadowed by Hamas and other groups. For Mossad, this was more than a tactical win. It was a message to every militant leader in the region. A warning that Israel's memory is sharp, and its agents are always watching. Whatever you do, wherever you are, sooner or later, Mossad will find you. Even decades later, Shaqaqi's story is still controversial. Some see him as a symbol of resistance. Others remember him as the man who perfected suicide attacks. But no matter which side you're on, his life and his death shifted the tension between Israel and its enemies. It showed how intelligence agencies operate in the shadows, that some wars aren't fought with armies but with information, patience, and precision. It also showed the world something important about espionage. Timing matters more than speed. Victory belongs to those who are patient. The hunt for Fathi Shaqaqi remains one of Mossad's boldest, most perfectly executed missions. It was a mix of cold logic, quiet courage, and ruthless efficiency, the very traits that make Mossad feared and respected around the world. It's a story about the fine line between justice and revenge. Because in the shadows, where spies still move unseen, war never truly ends. So what do you think? Was Fathi Shaqaqi a hero or a terrorist? Tell us in the comments down below. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, hit like and share it with a friend. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss out on more stories about Mossad's operations.